And this is something we need to change at a global level.
Because this is
Patrick,
also, oh, so I'm sorry.
no, go on, Tom.
But this is also like an opportunity for people to realize that this is happening in a lot of places.
Yes.
And it was a bit of it's very disappointing seeing so many people just completely out themselves, saying this is the first major war between civilized nations.
Yes, there's a lot of I would say people telling on themselves, rushing to aid one country.
Wait, was that a pun?
Was it?
Rushing
It is
to aid? Sorry.
Well, it is now.
But you were saying, but it's true. All this aid is coming. I mean, people say, well, it was because they're white. So let's God, it's crazy.
And
Yemen.
We are bombing Yemen. We are starving Afghanistan. We are condemning Palestine. But we have very hard opinions on Ukraine and very definite opinions on Ukraine.
So it's illuminating something for us, right? And that is, I guess, our bias, not just our perspective. Early on in the show, Patrick, you said something about every experience is unique, talking about war, I think, and could you talk more about that?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I was thinking a lot about these Russian soldiers that are going in, that are actively invading Ukraine now, and how I can't 100% confirm that all these stories are true, but Russian soldiers, we have videos of them surrendering to Ukrainian mothers and grandmothers who feed them and give them tea, and these soldiers claiming that they had no idea what they were involved with. They thought, some of them thought they were liberating, some of them thought this was, training. There are conscripts within the Russian army, drafted soldiers. And I get, I don't know. I just, very much, I think, to what you were talking about, Thomas, just us generalizing one uniformed military as each one of these soldiers, are the ardent, diehard Putin loyalists that we think they all are, and just what people will do when they're don't think they have any other option, that people will pick up a gun and fight for a cause, for all sorts of reasons for why they need to survive. I don't know, I guess I just get overwhelmed trying to break down that idea, but just the people can find themselves in a situation for any number of reasons.
I mean, I'm glad that you're bringing it down to this personal level. I mean, it must be terrifying to be a soldier, to be, potentially killed, and that's what people are putting you in. They're putting you in that position. You go in and you either kill someone or you be killed. Am I way too simplistic with this, Patrick?
Nope. I mean, I think, I think it's overwhelming in its simplicity, that nothing else matters. You realize all of a sudden nothing else matters except for the next 30 seconds or 2 minutes or whatever. And also, most of the rest of the world does not view their soldiers with the same amount of of patriotic support as Americans do. I think that's another thing that Americans don't understand. Like a lot of, in Russia and in a lot of our neighboring countries, UK, joining the military is kind of, you didn't have any other option, and people are like, why would you, do that unless you were facing jail time? And that's kind of the point, is to have undesirables that are expendable, in your armed forces. So if the bodies start counting up, people don't really mind too much.
Well, some people must, right?
Hmm.
Some people must mind the person who's waiting at home to find out whether their son or daughter or
Yeah.
or
Well,
independent.
not the voices that are heard, I guess.
No. The other thing is, I'm just thinking what this must be like for a soldier where their life is on the line, their brain is going to be producing all this cortisol, and their adrenaline, and those things block other chemicals. We know that cortisol blocks dopamine, which is a chemical of pleasure, and cortisol blocks oxytocin, which is the chemical of trust. So under these stress conditions, which we are under globally now, it's very hard to feel pleasure. And who do you trust? And I wonder whether this is part of what we're also looking at with Ukraine, but also with the division we have here in the United States. With COVID was a common enemy. Somehow tribes need a common enemy. We could have made COVID that common enemy. Unfortunately, we still need a common enemy, but we could have made COVID that and come together as a global community to say, we're being invaded by this incredibly small thing that kills people. What do we do as a community to come together around that? But that opportunity may have been missed. So we're coming to the end of the show. The I am approach, as you know, has two truths. The four domains: the home, the social, the biological, and the I see, how I see myself, how I think other people see me, interact. Because of these interactions, a small change can have a big effect. So Patrick, what small change can you recommend to our listeners so that we can manage this?
Well, I think I'll go back to the thing I said the first time I was on here, which is I would encourage people to actively listen with an intent to change their perspective.
Yeah, I hope people are doing that. And I hope people who are listening to this show will share it with other people who will then share it with others, so that we can all change our perspective and realize how much we have in common right now. We have so much at risk, and yet so much opportunity to do something to bring ourselves together. The second truth of the I am: everyone's got an I am. Everyone is interested through their I see domain in what you think or feel about them, which has an effect on their biological domain, because it feels differently when you feel respected or disrespected. And you're part of someone's home or social domain, which means you control no one, you influence everyone, you get to choose the kind of influence you want to be. Patrick Troy-Brandt, what kind of influence do you want to be?
I want to be a pillar of support for anyone around me who needs it.
Yeah. And I sure hope that becomes a model for everyone. Everyone. We're under a lot of stress globally. But one of the best ways to reduce your stress is to help reduce somebody else's stress. Because as soon as you do that, you increase your value and you remind them of theirs, which is what we want. And as soon as you remind someone of their value, it increases oxytocin, it decreases cortisol, and you begin to trust you're safer. We can create a safer world by simply wondering why people do what they do and approaching them in a way with respect that leads to value. And then they can trust you with their perspective. And then we can have a discussion. We can have a discussion, even though I don't agree with someone. Doesn't mean I don't respect them.
Mhm.
So, Patrick, thank you so much for coming on. Again, you are one of our repeat guests, and we really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for that and for everything you've done for us.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Dr. Joe.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good night, Tom.
Stretch the canvas, brush with